a divided city, Berlin, after the war. World War II left Europe in ruins. Germany, once a mighty power, was defeated and occupied. Berlin, the capital city, was divided. The Soviet Union controlled the eastern part of the city. The United States, Great Britain and France controlled the west. Tensions between the Soviet Union and the West grew. These tensions formed the basis of the Cold War. The Cold War was an ideological struggle. It pitted communism against democracy. It was a clash of two very different ways of life. Berlin became a focal point of this conflict. East Berlin became a communist state. West Berlin remained a beacon of democracy. The city was a microcosm of a divided world. In 1961, the Berlin Wall was built. It was a physical manifestation of the Cold War's divisions. The wall was a symbol of oppression and a barrier between East and West. The Iron Curtain descends, building the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was built practically overnight. On August 13, 1961, East German troops began to close the border. Barbed wire went up first, soon replaced by a concrete barrier. The wall cut through the heart of Berlin, dividing families, neighborhoods, and even cemeteries. The official reason for the wall was to keep Western fascism out of East Germany. East German official. However, the real reason was to stop the mass exodus of East Germans to the West. Life in the West, with its freedoms and opportunities, was a powerful draw for many East Germans. The wall was also a propaganda tool for the East German government. It portrayed the West as a dangerous and decadent place. It aimed to convince East Germans that they were better off under communist rule. The construction of the Berlin Wall shocked the world. It became a powerful symbol of the Cold War's division and the suppression of freedom. Life in the shadow of the wall, a city divided. The Berlin Wall was more than just a physical barrier. It was a symbol of oppression and a constant reminder of the division of the world. Life in the shadow of the wall was difficult, especially for those with loved ones trapped on the other side. West Berliner families were torn apart, friendships were severed. The wall cut through the fabric of society, leaving behind a trail of heartache and despair. People on both sides of the wall yearned for reunification, for a time when they could be with their loved ones again. The wall also had a profound impact on the city itself. East Berlin, under communist rule, became grey and oppressive. West Berlin, by contrast, flourished as a symbol of freedom and democracy. Cracks in the facade, the winds of change. The Berlin Wall stood as a symbol of Cold War division for almost 3 decades. However, by the 1980s, change was in the air. In the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev came to power with new ideas. He introduced reforms like perestroika and glasnost, aimed at restructuring the Soviet system and increasing openness. Gorbachev's reforms had a ripple effect across Eastern Europe. People began to demand more freedom and democracy. Protests erupted in Poland, Hungary, and Czechoslovakia. The Iron Curtain, once seemingly impenetrable, began to show cracks. Young activists in East Germany too, people were growing restless. They wanted the freedom and opportunities they saw in the West. They no longer wanted to live in a closed society, cut off from the rest of the world. The winds of change were blowing and the Berlin Wall's days were numbered. Section 5, A Night for the History Books, November 9th, 1989. On November 9th, 1989, the world watched in astonishment as the Berlin Wall began to crumble. It began with a misunderstanding. Günter Schabowski, an East German official, announced new travel regulations at a press conference. When asked when the regulations would take effect, he seemed unsure, then said, "As far as I know, it takes effect immediately, without delay." East Germans, eager for change, flocked to the border crossings. Border guards, caught off guard and unsure of what to do, eventually opened the gates. The news spread like wildfire. Eyewitnesses for thousands of East Berliners streamed through the newly opened wall, met with cheers and embraces from West Berliners. That night, the Berlin Wall, once a symbol of oppression, became a stage for celebration. Eyewitness S4. People danced on top of the wall, chipped away at it with hammers and pickaxes, and reunited with loved ones they hadn't seen in years. It was a night of pure joy, a moment that would forever be etched in history. Section 6. Jubilation and Reunification. The wall comes tumbling down. The fall of the Berlin Wall was met with jubilation around the world. It was a victory for freedom and democracy, a testament to the human spirit's enduring desire for liberty. The event triggered a wave of change across Eastern Europe, leading to the collapse of communist regimes and the reunification of Germany. Families separated for decades were reunited. The wall, once a symbol of division, became a bridge of unity. People from East and West Berlin came together to dismantle the barrier that had separated them for so long. The fall of the Berlin Wall was a watershed moment not only for Germany, but for the world. It marked the beginning of the end of the Cold War and the dawn of a new era of freedom and democracy. Section 7. A world transformed. The fall of the Berlin Wall and the end of the Cold War.
The fall of the Berlin Wall had profound global implications. It signaled the end of the Cold War, a decades-long ideological struggle between the United States and the Soviet Union.
The collapse of the Soviet Empire soon followed, leading to the emergence of new democracies in Eastern Europe. The world order that had existed since the end of World War II was shattered.
The bipolar world, dominated by two superpowers, gave way to a more multipolar system. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the triumph of democracy over communism and ushered in a new era of globalization and interconnectedness.
The events of 1989 had a profound impact on international relations, leading to new alliances, partnerships, and challenges. The world was no longer divided by an iron curtain, but it was not without its problems. Section 8. Remembering the Wall, a legacy of hope and warning. The Berlin Wall may be gone, but its legacy lives on. It stands as a powerful reminder of the human cost of division and the importance of freedom and democracy. The Wall's story is a testament to the power of hope, resilience, and the unwavering belief in a better future. Today, segments of the Berlin Wall are preserved in museums and memorials around the world. They serve as a stark reminder of the past and a call to action for future generations. The lessons of the Berlin Wall are as relevant today as they were in 1989. They remind us that freedom is not free, it must be constantly defended and cherished. The fall of the Berlin Wall teaches us that even the most formidable barriers can be overcome when people come together and demand change. Section 9. Echoes of the past walls in the 21st century. While the Berlin Wall may be gone, the world is still grappling with the legacy of division. Walls and barriers continue to be erected, both physically and metaphorically, dividing people and societies. From the border wall between the United States and Mexico to the digital walls of censorship and misinformation, the challenges of division persist. The lessons of the Berlin Wall remind us that walls are not the answer. They may seem like a solution in the short term, but they ultimately create more problems than they solve. Walls divide communities, stifle communication, and perpetuate prejudice and misunderstanding. Instead of building walls, we should be building bridges. We should be breaking down barriers of ignorance and intolerance and fostering greater understanding and cooperation between people of all backgrounds and beliefs. Section 10. Conclusion: the enduring power of freedom. The fall of the Berlin Wall was a pivotal moment in human history. It marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. It taught us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit's yearning for freedom can never be extinguished. The story of the Berlin Wall is a story of hope, resilience, and the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most formidable obstacles. It is a story that continues to inspire us today, reminding us that walls cannot hold back the tide of freedom forever. It is a story that teaches us that change is possible, that even the seemingly impossible can be achieved when people unite in a common cause. The fall of the Berlin Wall is a reminder that freedom is a precious and fragile gift that must be constantly defended and cherished. It is a call to action for all of us to work towards a world without walls, a world where all people are free to live in peace and dignity.